Closed captioning for the Casey Malone Show is sponsored by Hunter Stevens Land Title Agency. Integrity, service, and commitment you can trust.
Oh yeah, Casey Malone is serving up local. It's time for the stories of our region, the tastes, the sights, the sounds, and the people in and around the valley. Get ready for some local flavor on the Casey Malone Show.
Today, it's bespoke and custom tailoring at Private Stash in downtown Youngstown. And the McNally family bakes their favorite cookie with me. But first, it's always a good time for barbecue. And one of my favorites is cockeye.
Another member of the Hoover dynasty is Max's brother, Ben. And Ben, you classically trained at CIA.
Yeah.
All the fancy stuff. But this was your first job.
Yeah, so we opened this business in 2015. I was still in high school. So my first job was scrubbing dishes in the back, but when we had less than 10 employees and we were still learning. So yeah, this was my first kitchen job ever, was with my family, yeah.
And why did you come back? I mean, you know, learning all those things and all the different types of food and...
I was very, very lucky that I got to kind of leave our area and go and experience lots of different places, whether that was on the East Coast, the West Coast, wherever. So I got to learn lots of different cuisines and ways of doing things. And then, but I always knew that I wanted to come back. This is just where I'm from. These are my stomping grounds. These are my people. I've been lucky. I've got to work in half a dozen different states across the country, and I just feel like I can communicate with our people. This is my community. This is where I'm from.
And you said this is more of a hybrid.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was more straight Kansas City.
So a little bit, there's a little bit here and there, and that's what's so cool about barbecue is it's so regional and things change from state to state, and there's really no right answer. So what we tried to do was to learn the right ways to do things, the right ways we thought, which might be a Kansas City style rib, but a Texas style brisket, you know, something like that, or an Alabama style chicken. And then you bring all those things together, you put them on the same menu. So we're definitely not purists. We don't say it has to be this way, this way, this way. We try to find the way that our customer likes things to be and then try to lean into that. So it's like Texas brisket, St. Louis style ribs.
Texas makes the best brisket. That's the first time I ever had it. You know, do you think that's what they excel at? Because they do the beef stew, which is kind of...
That's pretty inflammatory. I don't know if I'm gonna hard commit. That's
okay.
I think everybody's brisket is good.
Right, okay.
That's what I think.
I think yours is better, right?
I don't know.
Don't you think?
We
That's something to master.
people keep eating it, so
Brisket's
that's all
tough.
I know. We like to make food that people like to eat, you know what I mean? Keep it simple.
Everything
It's
you
barbecue,
do.
ice cream, pizza. We don't need anything other than what people are used to getting. So keep it simple, you know, make fun food. We're gonna be looking to expand our creamery brand some more. I'm sure my brother spoke about that extensively, but hopefully more scoop shops here in the future. And then we always talk, we have usually 1.5 projects in the hopper.
Right.
So for a while it was build the ice cream plant, and then we have the pizza shop sort of on the back burner, and now pizza shop's the front of our brain, and then we'll probably put something else
I'm going to think
in
about
the
that.
back
I'm
and
going to
see
put on
what's
my
next.
thinking cap what we need. Sauerkraut? German? Well, the big daddy of this tribe of Hoovers that are taking over the west side of Warren is Eric. And it's so cool that I happen to be here, you know, for the 9th anniversary time. 9 years since you opened this place.
Yeah.
Barbecue heaven. Of all the things, because you also, you know, you went to Johnson Wales.
I did.
Classically trained.
Yeah.
And then why barbecue? Why is that your calling?
Well, I was in school and I learned all these classic fundamentals. I didn't feel connected to what I was doing. Imagine a violinist who learns a classical piece of music and plays it to perfection, but they don't feel that they feel it.
Isn't really in it. Yeah.
And so I kind of discovered American barbecue down south. It wasn't part of my childhood growing up.
So what is the clothesline? And when you go on your site...
Oh, you want to
see-
know about the clothesline. Okay.
Yeah.
We have specials that come and go, and sometimes it's like, you know, I stopped somewhere on the way in. Maybe I stopped at Star Pacey's over there, and I was like, you know what? They've got, you know, chayote in stock. I'm going to make a special with that, or fresh tomatoes, or whatever it is. And I'll come in and we'll kick it around in the morning, we'll make something. Sometimes it's enough for 25 people, sometimes it's enough for 250 people. And we created this sort of like ever rotating clothesline.
It's seasonal, and
It's just like your clothesline on the farm. Like it doesn't go up for 2 weeks. When it's dry and we're not selling it anymore, it comes down and we put up the next thing.
Right.
So it's an opportunity for our kitchen staff to both get experience with new ingredients.
Yes.
And so when these clotheslines, don't sleep on them when you come in,
Make
because
sure you try
they're
them.
very unique and they're very good. I'm very proud of them.
What does it take to be a pit master? Is there like a test you take?
Anymore, it doesn't take a lot. I think you can
Okay,
get
you
it from
can
the
just
same.
call yourself
Yeah,
one?
I also have a degree in HVAC, and from Sally Struthers. So you can get a pitmaster
And
degree.
you're a minister, you can marry anybody.
Pretty much,
now.
yeah.
Okay.
A pitmaster, I think, should understand how to cook pretty much all the proteins and sides for a traditional American barbecue. Being consistent in your product, we're obviously consistent. We're still open after 9 years, thank goodness.
Really?
So
I feel honored that I'm here
people
for
keep
the
giving me
night.
money, they keep eating. I'm very thankful. So it's consistent. At what level of consistency, I don't know. I'd like to think it's better than average, I hope. But it's up to us to make sure that each customer is satisfied.
Right. What is the element you must have for barbecue? Fire, smoke, wood.
There needs to be a wood element.
All right.
And I'm not talking about charcoal. You know what? When you open a bag of barbecue potato chips, everywhere, nearly everywhere, that smell is hickory.
Hickory. So that's your
And so
wood of choice.
we opened up a barbecue joint on the west side of Warren where we're not the barbecue capital of the world. So I want from the grandma down the road to the second grader, when he comes into my place, to go, it smells like barbecue.
Right.
So we use hickory. There's tons of great woods out there to smoke with, and I experiment. We play with things, but luckily we have a
consistent, huh?
very
Hickory.
good supplier of local hickory, so it's not shipped in. As long as he doesn't go to jail, I'll still be smoking with hickory.
Take off with the Casey Malone Show. Woohoo!
Sweet Memories Vintage Teas and Candy in Liberty, a store like no other. Step through our doors and travel back in time. Remember the nostalgic candy, vintage sodas, and retro toys you thought were gone forever? You'll find all your classic favorites and so much more. Because memories are best when shared, we give back to local charities. Sweet Memories Vintage Teas and Candy, bringing you joy one memory at a time.
This is GABA Camp, barrier-free camping and nature for our friends with disabilities. Thank you for your generous donations. We now have our first phase, but more work needs to be done. A lodge will provide a meeting place and food service for our adults with disabilities and their families. GABA Camp is a 501c3 organization. We need your help to grow. Donate to GABA Camp. Given is living.
Consumer Reports conducts over 50 tests to determine the best vehicles, and only one brand was named the 2024 Best Mainstream Automotive Brand, Subaru, with 8 vehicles that are recommended models: Outback, Ascent, Legacy, Impreza, WRX, BRZ, and 2024 top picks Crosstrek and Forester. Safe, reliable, trusted, loved. Subaru.
The Subaru A Lot to Love event is going on now, only at Boardman Subaru.
Weight loss goals aren't one size fits all. At Hurricane Health and Wellness, we understand the struggle. We've been there too. That's why we offer the most popular, effective weight loss medications at an affordable price. Look and feel your best today with Hurricane Health and Wellness.
Shop C-Max Northside Appliance in Struthers, the local appliance store that beats big box prices every day.
3 generations serving Youngstown, Ohio, soon to be our 4th.
You better come on in my kitchen.
Well, this is a very special cooking segment today. My kitchen has been invaded by the McNally clan. Lauren McNally is this year's Irish Woman of the Year for the Ladies Ancient Order of Hibernians, and she has brought in her crew. And I'm telling you, beautiful children. We've got Claire and Patty and Breen and Bridget, and the 2 girls are dancers. I've seen you guys dance, and you're getting better every year. And we are going to make a McNally family favorite. And what is it?
Chocolate chip cookie.
That's right. Patty, you like chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah.
And what about you?
I love chocolate chip cookies.
Good. And Breen, you're all in, right?
Yes.
Okay, because we've got to have the most reasonable one. You know, Breen is the oldest, and he carries that mantle. And I understand how you could be our state representative, because organizing these 4 children is quite a feat. So organizing our district is probably a piece of cake compared to your family
Much
life.
less chaos out in the world than there is at my house.
Now, what do you enjoy more? Because you started out as our council person in the city of Youngstown, and now you are down in Columbus. I mean, that has to be...
You know, it's
a
similar
lot more
and different at the same time, but at the core of both, it's just about helping the people that live here, and that is just at the heart of what I love to do and is really just rewarding personally. So I'm really enjoying the new spot that I'm at down at the State House.
And you're doing an excellent job. You're
thank you.
fighting for the valley. I just think we better get cooking. What do you think? Are you guys getting hungry for some cookies?
Yeah.
All right.
This one over here is ready.
We call these West Side chocolate chip cookies, because the West Side is the best side. So let's go over the ingredients, and then we are going to make these cookies.
For these cookies, you'll need 1 cup of unsalted butter, 3/4 cups of sugar, 3/4 cup packed light brown sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 2 eggs, 3 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, a half teaspoon of salt, 1 cup milk chocolate chips, half cup dark chocolate chips.
I preheated the oven to 375 degrees. First thing we're gonna do is get things creamed up, all right? Yay! So Patty, you gonna drop in some butter?
Butter.
Okay, not the paper, just the sticks. All right. Good job. And Claire, why don't we get those sugars in and we'll get this going? Because this is a very important part. You don't want gritty dough. You want this to get blended nice, so we have got to make sure this is blended really well. All right, and then we go down, and we'll just start to get it together. And we just want it to get creamy looking, you know? There we go. We got to let this go for a little bit. And then I think we're going to need to scrape it down a little bit, okay? All right, so let's put the eggs in, and we're going to clean it up just a little bit more. This will really get it together. Good job, kids. All right,
The eggs make it
here we go.
Yes. Yes.
All right, so let's get this scraped down, Patty. And then we are going to need to add the vanilla. All right, Claire? Good job. Okay, so let's add that. And we'll put that in and put the mixer more. But hey, Bridget, I am going to need the dry ingredients mixed together. So would you put the salt and the baking soda together? Because we're going to be adding that next, the dry ingredients. Good job. And then just stir it real good so it's mixed. And then when we get ready for the dry, it'll go right in.
Got it all? Good job.
This is really the most important part, because this is where we bind it all together and we get that dough going. So let's do it, Brady. Why don't we put in half at a time? We got to watch the cloud burst, because if you have this running too fast, we get flour everywhere. Good job. That's okay. You got it. There we go. Ooh. See?
Bridget's over here asking for more sugar.
Now, why do we have so much flour in this recipe? This is 3 cups. That's a lot.
So the flour helps them to sit up and be a plumper cookie than sort of that flat chocolate chip cookie that most people bake.
Are these crisp or soft?
They're soft, They're a soft chocolate chip cookie.
And delicious. All right, it's missing something. What is it missing?
Go ahead, Bridge. Pick up the bowl and dump.
Yeah, look at all that goodness.
No chocolate
Now
chip
see,
left
I
behind.
am the dark. I like the dark. One more. And then,
Why? What makes you like the dark so much?
oh, because it's just, oof. And it's good for you.
I don't like the dark.
I love it. You're gonna like it. When you get older, you're gonna like it. It's like oysters. You'll grow to love them. All right. Now here's what we're gonna do. Turn this on. See, it's just stir. So we're just gonna go to the first one. See, I gotta lock it. And it doesn't smush them, you know what I mean? It just stirs them really good. Okay. Now we need to scrape this out because we gotta get rolling.
Oh.
Look at all that, oh my gosh.
We are going to scoop teaspoons of cookie dough onto our tray here before we pop them into the oven. So
washed our
take
hands.
a teaspoon, fill your spoon, roll it into a ball, and then pop it onto the tray.
These are
We'll
pretty
make a
big.
scrape.
Okay?
Now we have washed our hands before we start doing that, right?
That would be
Wash our hands.
Clean Allie hands.
The key is we're gonna bake them for only 8 minutes.
8 minutes.
You might think they're not done when you go to pull them out, but then they're gonna sit on the tray for a minute or
Just
two
too
before
small.
you transfer them to that cooling rack.
That's
Okay. All right,
Not
let's
long.
let them sit, then we'll transfer them and cool them. And then we're gonna eat them. Who wants milk?
me.
Well, does this get the McNally Children seal of approval?
Yeah.
Yay, thumbs up. Oh, you're dropping yours right in the milk, Patty.
Oh man,
Boy, I tell you, you've got a really interesting crew here, Lauren.
he's sunk. He's a goner. You're gonna have
Uh-oh, well, you're just gonna have to
Drink
eat it. All right. Well, I really appreciate you bringing
Thanks
them
for
over.
having us.
My little Irish lady of the year.
Oh, I'm
And
excited.
we are in the green season, aren't we? I'm going to be seeing you guys everywhere. Don't forget about the parade.
Yes, we'll be dancing.
Oh, going to be there.
We'll be dancing after it,
And during it.
and during it, and all month long.
That's right. It's going to be so much fun. Well, I really appreciate it. Do you guys want the recipe for the West Side
Yes.
chocolate chip cookies? Go to my website, CaseyMaloneShow.com, and that recipe will be there.
Bridget's stealing the whole tray.
All right, Bridget, you going to take these home with you?
What do you guys
All
say?
Thank you.
Happy St. Patrick's Day!
Yay!
Cookies!
Happy St. Patrick's Day from the Casey Malone Show.
For over 75 years, Kamara Jewelers has been the destination for quality jewelry. Our collection has a piece for everyone, in every occasion. Whether you're starting a new chapter, celebrating a milestone, or showing appreciation for the special people in your life, you can find a piece that reflects your love. At Kamara, we're about timelessness. Our jewelry isn't just for special occasions, it's for everyday moments that deserve a touch of elegance.
Real, get Kamara.
Locally sourced is good, whether it's ingredients or a bank, and that's why my bank is Farmers National Bank. Since 1887, Farmers has remained rock solid through every economic condition. Having a bank with a history of safety, soundness, and conservative management is a must. It all boils down to this. You need a bank that will help you reach your goals. I do too, and Farmers is mine. Farmers National Bank, rock solid.
I'm Elizabeth Bernard For more than 30 years, I've provided our Valley with sound legal advice. My associate Jennifer Rigetti and I will be your legal representatives if you're involved in a car, truck, or motorcycle accident. Don't try to handle it yourself. We'll navigate the red tape of dealing with doctors, medical insurance, and all the obstacles that you'll face. Remember, there are no upfront fees on personal injury cases, and hiring a lawyer does not mean you have to go to court.
Call attorney Elizabeth Bernard, local legal experience for more than 30 years.
The 47th Annual Mahoning Valley St. Patrick's Day Parade is Sunday, March 16th. Enter your group, organization, or marching band at mvstpatrickparade.com.
Joseph Guerrieri is the master tailor and owner of Private Stash Atelier, and it's right here in downtown Youngstown on Federal Street. And we're up here in the studio, and this is where custom suits, bespoke suits, shoes, shirts, everything can be made custom for you.
Absolutely.
What made you get into tailoring? Have you always had an interest in fashion and things like that?
I've always had an interest in creating things. Fashion I just kind of fell into while I was out in LA, and it's just stuck ever since.
And are you self-taught in the tailoring and, design?
I am. When I first started out there, I took some doodles in a notebook, found a pattern maker, and then they just slowly introduced me to the whole process from there. So,
what was your very first suit?
Very first suit, I'd say probably First Communion. Something like that. It's all white, just doesn't really fit you.
Were you all about it? Or no, you were just like, this is dumb?
I never really appreciated dressing up when I was younger. It's something I took as I got older. You start putting yourself together and you start looking better, feeling better.
What are your customers like though? Because obviously if someone's coming in and taking the care to really look at the fabric and the cut.
Yeah, so we have a spectrum of clients, and ranging from young professionals that are just getting into the workplace to guys that have already been in there that just want to elevate their wardrobe from, a suit supplier or like a men's warehouse.
You have like 3 levels what you can do, right? You can do the alterations on a current suit. And then there is the custom.
So we have our made-to-measure division as well as our bespoke division. So our made-to-measure division, production for that's anywhere between 4 and 7 weeks, where a bespoke suit would take anywhere from 7 to 12 weeks. And just depends on the complexity. Price is also a major factor. Our bespoke suits start around $3,500, and our made-to-measure suits start at $898.
The bespoke, how many measurements? Now, I've not even heard that term before.
We take about 30 core measurements, and then from there it can vary, and sloping the sleeves, shoulders, all that type of stuff. And then with our made-to-measure, you're taking about a dozen and up, a little over a dozen.
And you already have the patterns on them?
Yeah, so the made-to-measure suits, we have pattern made, so we'll take your core measurements, your chest, waist, pant waist, and coat waist. Then we'll throw you into one of our fitter blocks that closest correspond to those measurements, and then from there I can whittle it down, open it up, do what we need to do to get it fitting correctly. And like I said, the made-to-measure process cuts anywhere from 4 to 5 fittings from a bespoke piece, depending on complexity, of course.
But once they get the bespoke, you already have their pattern then.
Yeah, so the bespoke pattern is a pattern strictly cut to that individual. And then again, as it comes in, we tweak the pattern a little bit. And then once it's done, same thing with their made-to-measure, it'll be ready to go for their next piece. You gain or lose weight. It takes about 15 pounds to really alter a piece.
I was just gonna ask that. So losing or gaining 15 is that sweet spot?
Yes and no. Everybody loses weight differently. Usually when you lose weight, you're losing it from bottom to top. Waist is usually the area it's more stubborn area. So when we see guys changing in their stuff, shirts, we see their necks are a lot more looser, Chest, they start losing a little more in the chest before they do the waist.
You can really fix
so
a lot of physical issues, can't you, on a really good suit?
Yes, absolutely. So we do their core measurements, as well as measurements off the pieces. We do a posture analysis. We're asking them, we're getting to know them for the first 15 minutes they're in here, likes, dislikes, where they vacation, do they have any injuries, things that will inhibit mobility from previous surgeries, things like that. And then once we can build a little profile together with all that information, we can cut the piece to their desired proportion and how they want it to look.
What is the biggest faux pas you see when a guy has a suit?
So what we notice here, we get a lot of guys coming in late. They need to get a suit, but it's next week, and it doesn't fit our time requirements. So they'll get a suit off the rack and bring it in. And a lot of the issues we see is they'll buy suits that are 2-3 sizes too big for them, and it's almost like a zoot suit. So we have to, it's the difference in doing a waist measurement and fixing that to now you're fixing the shoulders, you're fixing the chest, you're fixing the waist, you're fixing the hips. So it turns into you're literally recutting the whole piece. So what we try to tell clients is, fit for your chest. Everything else we can kind of clean up a little bit better than having something that just sloppily hangs on you.
Double-breasted.
I love double-breasted. It's slowly making a comeback. We've done a few here in Youngstown. It's a little bit more popular out in LA and New York and with my Chicago clients.
You don't just do suits, because you also do custom shirts and shoes.
Yes, we just started doing shoes.
Yeah, now show this shoe, because this is gorgeous. And this is your own personal pair, is that
Yeah,
not?
this is a pair that we just had made for myself. I chose to do a green bottom. It's a Goodyear welt. It's pretty much the best welt you can get for a shoe. We make all of our shoes in Spain. And pretty much this shoe is a whole cut black calf leather. This would be comparable, if you were going to compare it to another brand, this would be comparable to a Ferragamo shoe.
So how does the process work? I come in, I need a suit, or my husband needs a suit. And let's say we don't do bespoke. We go with a custom.
Made it better, yeah.
How many choices of fabric and do I get? Walk me through that process.
Okay, so a client comes in, typically we'll see what their budget is, because then we could really plan around. With our $8.98 price, you're gonna get about 100 fabrics to pick from. So you're about 3-4 books, and then depending on what fabric, material, color, weave you're looking for, we just kind of go through and we can pull the books that you need. So our $8.98 price is the starting point, and then increments of 100 to 200 will go up from there. I mean, we do suits up to 15,000.
There's so many good tips,
Absolutely.
Look at you, Grasshopper. You're just, you're telling everyone about fine tailoring. I think it's great. But you do have to make an appointment. This is not just a walk.
No. We keep it to appointment only now.
Because, it's personal stuff. I mean, you are measuring them, and then they're really looking for your items.
100%. And it's cool, too, because we got a lot of guys that have been introduced to us, and they have younger kids, so then they'll bring their sons in, and now it's a father-son duo that are in here. And then if we're lucky enough, we get father-son and then grandfather that comes in. So we're starting to build a little bit of lineage with our clients out, which is awesome.
And what about your logo, the pipe and the saber? What is that is interesting, and it's with all your pieces?
Yes. So anytime you buy a custom jacket from us, whether it's just a jacket by itself or a full suit, we always pin you in. It's like a little pinning ceremony. It's our little fraternity that we have.
And what does that represent?
So we want all our clients to strive for a balanced lifestyle in here. So we have our war and peace. So you have your cavalry saber, and then you have your peace pipe. It's not our version, but it's our image of balance.
The Casey Malone Show is sponsored in part by Denise and John York and the DeBartolo Corporation.